Okay, so welcome to TVET 2021, a whole new year. Let's see what happens this year and see what 2021 throws at us. My name is Sue. I'm your IT teacher for the next 2 years. So most of you are doing 2 units over 2 years. So I've got you for 7 terms. You're stuck with me. Yay. I'm sitting in the Tamworth classroom currently, and I have Deb in the classroom here and a few local students in Tamworth. But I have a large range, about 15 I think, online across the state, which is quite amazing, from all over the place. And hopefully, once we get started, you guys can get to know each other. So thinking of starting next week as far as your own computer, log into Teams, check your emails before class each week, okay? Because definitely before next week, once you're all enrolled as TAFE students, I will send you an email with the link to our class team that we will be using for the rest of this course. So please understand where you are at the moment. The link that you've used is temporary. Now I'm just checking that I've got everyone in here at the moment. Sorry, just checking my emails. As I said, I'm currently sitting in the Tamworth classroom, but I'm not going to be in this classroom every week. I have other campuses that I may be delivering from. Not in Teams, Deb. Yeah. So as I said before, we are not allowed to record TVET classes. So in Teams, the Teams meeting that you're looking at, there's no bar up the top of the screen that says I'm recording you guys. I am recording the meeting, so bear in mind if someone does happen to speak, but I'm not recording the chat, I'm not recording your details. Mohammed, you haven't received that yet? Yeah, not everyone's actually enrolled in TAFE yet, so keep that in mind. Hopefully that will happen within the next week, but I'll be in touch with you all individually now that I've got your email addresses, and we'll follow up on making sure before next week that everyone's actually enrolled as a TAFE student. So what I am recording is my extra screen, which doesn't have any TVET names or icons or chat pod or anything in it, okay? And I'm just recording my presentation, my PowerPoint presentation, which I'll just put up on the screen. Okay, so that's the only thing that's being recorded. It's just that for any student who missed out today or comes in late, they can go, I'll provide that link, and they can go and listen to the orientation. So if there's any questions while we're talking, you're welcome to type it into the chat pod, and I'll answer your questions as we go. Okay, so welcome to TVET. As I was saying, I may not always be in the Tamworth classroom, but every week I will be here on Teams, and I will be talking to you no matter where everyone is located. So TVET 2021, a new year. Hopefully we're not going to get interrupted by COVID again too much. Hopefully we'll all get a vaccination or whatever, and life will go on fairly normal. So PowerPoint. Now, I understand you're all at different schools, you all have different time frames for morning tea and breaks and things. If you can, we'll have our break together so that you don't come in and out at different times. If you can't be here, please send me an email. The best way to communicate with me is sending me an email. Okay, because you can see every time I look in that direction, I'm just checking my inbox. So if anything comes in, I can address it straight away. You all now have an email from me, and you've got my email contact details. Okay, so welcome. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint now. Congratulations. Welcome to the TVET program. Yep, exactly, Jack. Some people are at home, there's different breaks, you're flexible. If the school bell goes off and you don't have a choice, you have to go for a break, that's fine. As I said, anything that's important will be recorded for you to come back to at another time. Okay, a note there, you should only really be here today if you've applied through your school and you've been advised you've been accepted into the TVET program. So if you're not sure, and you're here, obviously if you've all been given the link to get into this Teams meeting in the first place, then you're already there. And I can see from my email, it looks like everyone's actually enrolled. So Mohammed will double check all that, but don't worry for now. That's why today was set up specifically, that we didn't have to worry about TAFE logins. I just want to get this orientation done. So please don't think again about TAFE logins for now. We'll deal with that individually. So, enrolment. Your school has provided us an enrolment form. The details that are on that form are the details that are set up in the system. So, as I say, whatever email address is in the system is where your TAFE activation email will go to. It may be school, it may have been a personal one that you don't realise that you put down. So check all those emails, check the spam folders if you haven't received your logon details. From what I can see, each one of you has is in my system. So yes, you'll get all that. Don't forget that login is different from the one you use at school. Do not share it with other students. Use your TAFE one for your TAFE course because you get different level of access than you do at school. So there's probably sites that you can go to that you can't using your school ID. Plus your school ID is probably, I don't think it's going to work at TAFE anymore. It used to, doesn't work anymore at TAFE. Okay. You'll be given a TAFE calendar, student information pack. All those documents were attached to that email that I have sent out to you. Okay, make sure you save those, make sure you keep them. Start a folder for TAFE wherever you're saving your work, on your school drive, online, in the cloud. Once you're enrolled as a TAFE student, you have free access to OneDrive. You can save your TAFE work there, which is probably the best, because once you are all in as TAFE students, that is the environment that I prefer you work in when you're doing your TAFE work. It keeps all of your TAFE emails together in the same inbox. It keeps all of your work in the same location. All you will do is sign into Office 365 as a TAFE student and everything will be there. No missed emails, no emails from me mixed up with all your 1,000 school emails, emails. Okay, so keep that information. We will have to go through all those documents as part of this orientation. Okay, the first one will be that contact form, but we'll go through those documents shortly. You will get course assessment guide, that's in the email. Okay, and I will go through it and you'll have to confirm that you actually understand that information. You'll get information about your assessments, the units and due dates. That is given to you on day one. So you know what you've got, what's ahead of you, and when those assessments are due. An outline of the course delivery, information about HSC exams. So you are all enrolled in an ATAR course and you are eligible to sit the HSC exams at the end of the year, as long as you get that far without withdrawing or not fulfilling the requirements of the course. And you sit the HSC exam, and if you want to, you can get that included as an ATAR. So at this point I say to you, just make sure that you are in the right course. If anything I'm saying today you're not sure of, then please email me individually, talk to your school careers advisor, TVET coordinator, whoever you at the school, and we'll just double check that you're in the right course. Mandatory work placement. You're going to get sick to death, of me saying mandatory work placement. So no matter where you are across the state, you have to do 70 hours, 2 weeks of work placement. If you fail and don't do that, you are indeterminate. You do not get these units on your HSC certificate, which means if you don't cover them with some other units, you don't get your HSC certificate. Please keep this in mind. You have to do 2 weeks work placement. And again, I'll come back to that a little bit further down the track. Okay, that is mandatory as part of this course. How TVET courses align to other qualifications. So you can see the TVET comes within that Certificate 1, 2, 3 Statement of Attainment. You are enrolled in a Certificate 3 course level, but this course will not give you, if you stay here for the 7 terms. Now Justin, I have one student who's doing 4 units in 1 year. Justin is going to be flat out and he's got to get it all finished by the end of September. But all of you will not gain a Certificate 3 in IT when you complete this course. You are doing a Statement of Attainment. So you're only doing a subset of units to complete the qualification. Okay, that's from a TAFE point of view. From the school point of view, from NESA point of view, you have 11 units to do over the course of your studies, whether that's over 7 terms or 3 terms. Okay, you've got 11 units, there is 17 to complete the full Certificate 3. So if you leave school, you've completed the 11 units, you love IT, you really want to investigate a career in IT, then come to TAFE, finish the Certificate 3, you've got that minimum requirement, and then you can go and consider specialising in Certificate 4. This course leads to pathways in cybersecurity, which is the demand for jobs. Cybersecurity, network engineer, ICT support help desk. We do a web unit, you get an introduction to some web design, you may want to specialise in that. Hardware. This course, the stream you enrolled in is networking and hardware. Now, again, if you're looking in the TVET booklet, there are other streams available in Certificate 3 IT. There's an application stream and there's a animation stream, multimedia animation stream. Okay, if they're the ones you looked at and you're enrolled in that course, in this course, that's not what you're getting. Sorry, this is the networking and hardware stream. So when you get to that HSC exam, you are doing the networking and hardware stream. Your electives are networking, internal hardware, and something else to do with networking and hardware. Okay, so again, just double check with your school and make sure you're in the right course. NESA, how do you get your NESA units? This is the minimum to do, minimum. You must attend class every week. We report to the school after every class, unless there's a school event that your school has approved you to go to otherwise, in which case we should be notified by the school. So unless we're notified by the school that you're at a swimming carnival or something, and you're not here, you will be marked as not attending, absent, and the school will get that report after every session. You must apply diligent and sustained effort. So every week I will give you some activities to do, and I need to see you doing those activities and submitting them back to me. Every week we give you something to do. Not every week is there some assessment item, but every week there is some activity for you to do. So you must make an effort to do that. Complete TAFE assessments. So there will be assessments provided, and you need to have a good attempt at those assessments. Okay, you may not pass your TAFE assessments, okay, due to whatever factors. You may not necessarily pass your TAFE assessments to achieve that unit, but if you're working hard and attending and still completing the NESA requirements, then you're still in the course. There's no issue with that. But, you know, that's just that you've got those two levels. One is the NESA minimum requirements, which is up on your screen now, and two, to actually get the TAFE unit, there's a certain level that you have to be competent in. Okay? And again, the work placement. See? It's going to keep coming up. It's mandatory for this course. Non-completion of any of these requirements on your screen at the moment may result in indetermination. So if you stop coming, you don't submit any work, you don't submit any assessment work at all, or you fail to attend work placement, is, we raise an indetermination, and there's a discussion at the school then on what's going on. If there's any questions, just pop them into the chat pod. Are we okay in the classroom, guys? All good? So again, class attendance. Every class, our class is 4 hours. Thursday 9:30 to 1:30, we have a break in between. Especially if you're at a TAFE campus, you are not allowed to leave the campus without a written certificate from your parent or from the school to say that you can leave the campus early. Please don't ask. Okay? We need written confirmation. For those of you at a school location, I don't have any control over when you come and go. All I can do is report the time you come and the time you leave. That goes back to the school, and it's up to the school then to deal with, he's had an exam in another class, or he had a school excursion or something. Okay? You should be here for the 4 hours, but I'm very understandable. As long as you are doing the work every week, if you can't make it, go and listen to the recording for each week, do the activities that are listed each week, submit them to me, and I'm happy. And your course is happy. Practical. So many of them are practical. We do have a lot of practical components. Obviously, internal hardware, we're connecting up networks, we're installing operating systems. There's things that you simply cannot do in a Word document on a computer. As I've said, we have ways around that in virtual simulated environments, but understanding that sometimes they're going to be difficult to do depending on your location and what you have access to. Again, talk to me individually, please. If you have any concerns, send me an email. You don't have to talk out in front of other students. You can personally send me a chat, not in this Teams meeting chat, but email is the best. Please send me an email, say I have a problem with this, or I can't do this. And there's some of the reasons that you may not achieve your TAFE unit of competency, because there's a practical that you just simply cannot do for some reason. We try and work with you to get that done as best as we can, but just talk to me, communicate with me, don't lose that communication. And we do as much as we can to help you get this course done. Hopefully most of you get those practical things done in work placement. So thinking about your local area, wherever you're all living, and I don't know where you are. You need to tell me, oh, I've got this great computer shop down the road. I've talked to the guy and he's going to let me do my work placement there. Talk to me about that. Think about it yourself. Oh, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Hello, out at, let me look at locations. I've got, all over the place. Sorry, can't see it at a glance. Students all over the place. Think of your local location and can I do work placement there? Think of your closest big town. We have quite a few available in Tamworth. If you're able to come to Tamworth for a week and stay with a rally or book into some place, or your family, someone will come with you, then again, talk to me. Work placement is mandatory. We need to start negotiating now from day one what you are going to do for your work placement. Now, Historically, we have done a simulated work placement in Tamworth, a block in term 3, where people come from all over and we do all the practical stuff. We have a week here as if it's a real workplace, and we get all that practical stuff done. I'm still planning on running that, but of course, previous years I've never had students from as far away as you guys are. So we have to look at options. So think about that from now, and think about, there'll be more information about that. If you know you're absent ahead of class time, let the teacher know, get someone to send us a note to explain that. If you miss an assessment, so specifically assessment due dates, if you've given me nothing by that due date, that's when warning letters start to go out. They go to the school and to parents, and it's a please explain. Talked about leaving class early. Under no circumstances leave a TAFE campus without leaving. Let me know if you're at school and you're going to another class, and I'm okay with that, as long as you are keeping up and doing your work each week. Okay, if you don't get it done in any of your free periods, then it's homework. Okay, you need to have a note. You must come back after a break. If you're on a campus and we can't find you, yeah, we're going to ring the school. You're missing. Work placement, here's the screen. I've already talked about work placement. Before we can place you out in industry, you have to demonstrate that you are work ready. So there's modules. Many of you, by the time you're in year 11, have already logged in to go to work placement. It's a site where you go and you do all these activities. There's some IT specific modules in there. If you've never been there before, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then again, in the coming weeks, there will be an email that talks about this in more detail. But you must complete those modules first before we can place you in the workplace. And of course, we'll talk about mandatory work placement and options for each of you. Rights and responsibilities. They're outlined in the TAFE New South Wales guide, which has been emailed to you, and I will go through a few general things. Okay? It's also available on TAFE New South Wales website that you can access at any time, but I have emailed everything you need to know. So, you agree to follow the course structure. Come each week, follow what you're asked to do, apply yourself. Just looking for that regular effort. Make a genuine attempt, okay? And mandatory work placement. The warning letter, as I said, goes to your school and your parents. If you get 2 for the same topic, you're at risk of not getting your HSC or ROSA yourself. Behaviour. Those of you coming onto TAFE campuses, you are in an adult learning environment. Those of you that are still at school, I'm not a school teacher, okay? When you're in my class, you are not at school. You are in a TAFE adult learning environment. You are learning at that Certificate 3 level. We are trying to prepare you for going out and working in industry. So we have expectations that you're going to behave in a mature, responsible manner. For those of you out there with part-time jobs, you're already out there doing some industry work, not necessarily IT, but you're out there with part-time jobs. But if you haven't got a part-time job, then, you know, we're trying to get you used to the habits of what it's like to go out to a job. Communication is most number one. Keep communication with me. Emails, very important. If I send you an email and ask you to do something, then I expect a response to that email. Hey Sue, yep, I've done this, or I've done this, or I've attached this document. Thank you very much. Okay? You do have to take responsibility for your own learning. Certificate 3 level. Okay, you do have supervision in the workplace, but you're also expected to be able to come to work, do what you've got to do. Don't sit there on your phone. That's not what you would do in the workplace. No one is going to pay you to sit on your phone and fiddle around. Log in, look at what you've got to do your set tasks for the day. When you've finished your set tasks, if you finish early, great. If you've done your task for the week, go and focus on some other school topics. That's fine. But I really want you to be able you need to take responsibility for doing what you need to do to get through this course. Please be here on time. I really appreciate the emails that come from students. You know, most of us have mobile phones. Set up, go into your web browser, log into Office 365 with your TAFE student ID, send me an email. I do have SMS access as well, so we can communicate that way if that's what you prefer. But I do appreciate those emails or texts to say, sorry, I'm not there today, I've got something else on. Because if I don't get official notification from the school, then I really appreciate that communication. I mean, you would not turn up for a job. If you had an employer, they were paying you money and you had to be there at 9:30 in the morning, you wouldn't not turn up and not contact someone to say, I'm sick, I can't make it today. So behave as if I'm your boss and I'm paying your wages. See, I'm told you I ramble. Deb's here laughing at me. Okay, you are still a student of your school while you are here at TAFE. So your school rules still apply. If your behaviour is unacceptable, of course, you guys out there can't see you. I don't have much control over what you guys do, but certainly those students on a TAFE campus, we will contact the school. If, basically non-attendance, non-completion of work, and the school will know about it. Okay? Sick or accident, very important. Let me know if you suffer from allergies. Again, if you're at the school, that's up to your school to manage. But if you're on a TAFE campus, we need to be aware of any health issues that we may have to respond to while you're in our presence at TAFE. So let us know, again, private email or talk to me. If you have an accident while you're at TAFE, don't leave. Please don't leave. Again, come and talk to your teacher and we'll call the school or a parent and we'll deal with that. Again, if anything happens at school, the school will let us know. But if you're able to email me individually, then I love those emails. Frequently asked questions. Do you have to attend TAFE on a school pupil-free day? Do I know the answer to that one, Deb? If it's a pupil-free day, yes. It's rare that it falls on a Thursday. That's why we don't have classes on Monday and Friday. But yes, you do. If you've got a TAFE class, unless I've said, TAFE's cancelled for the day, you do have to attend. Of course, if you can't go to school for some reason, you may be attending from home. Again, talk to your school about that, whether they're still there, you accessing resources, computers, or whether you're expected to do that from home. If you don't have technology at home, send me an email, let me know. Okay? What if you're sick? Again, we need written notice. I didn't prepare for answering these questions, Deb. If you have an EpiPen and you're attending a TAFE campus, please talk to me, let us know. Pardon? Sorry? Yes, if you have an EpiPen, the school should have sent us a healthcare plan. If they haven't, we will contact the school anyway. But you tell me if you carry one, whether you need it or not. If you're carrying one, you must tell me, please, and we'll contact the school and make sure we've got all the current information. Sorry? Yes. Yes, definitely if you're on the school campus. Again, that's your supervisors and teachers and the school will manage that. But those students on a TAFE campus, please let me know. Of course, if you do happen to come to Tamworth for our simulated workplace, I have to know all that information as well. Can I go to the mall in the break? No. Yep. Yep. We don't have walls. It's a long way to the mall. In Tamworth campus, we have a lovely little coffee shop across the corner that sells apparently the best chips, hot chips. And my TVET students love going over there. The only time you can leave at a TAFE campus is never. Yes, there. If you really must, there is a permission note that we can get signed by your parents that says that Fred's allowed to walk over to the canteen and get hot chips in his lunch break. The problem with that is it's only a morning tea break, and you never get them cooked and eaten before you have to come back to class. Anyway, again, you guys at the schools, you're here, you're not. I don't always know where you are. Can I leave early? We've already answered that question. What do I wear to TAFE? What you would wear to school. No thongs. I don't think you're allowed to wear thongs to school. Long time since I've been at school. Exactly. So school uniform's fine, because quite often you'll be going back to school. If I don't pass the TAFE course, do I still get my NESA units? Hopefully you can answer that question for me now. Remember, you may not receive a pass in your TAFE units, but yes, if you are here every week and you are putting in a good effort and you are submitting assessments to the best of your ability, yes, most likely you will still get your NESA units. And you're going to get plenty of warning if you're at risk of that, because that's when warning letters start coming out. So you're going to know if you're not achieving, if you're at risk of not getting your NESA units, okay? If you've got school exam or excursions, encourage the school to remind them, let my TAFE teacher know that I'm not going to be here. As a minimum, you email me and you tell me what's going on at the school, because we don't always get that through from the school, and it's nice to know that you're not going to be there one day. Do I attend on public holidays? Nope. Thanks, Deb. It's rare that we have a public holiday on a Thursday, but no. Public holiday, I'm not even here. I'm not here. I'm not even going to be on Teams, guys. I'm going to be out doing something interesting. Hopefully at the beach or something. How do I know the TVET term dates? I've already given it to you in the email. Now, give me a second, because I just need to address a pop-up on my screen. I'll just pause for a second. Don't forget to stick something in the chat pod if you've got a question. Okay, so give me 5 minutes. I've just got another student that I have to try and get into the meeting. So have a look at some of your documents. Make sure you've saved them. Open them. We're going to be going through them one at a time. So give me a few minutes. So we've just gone through some frequently asked questions, and I'll just go through the rest of this PowerPoint. Please speak to your teacher. Any questions? I've already had some emails come in from some students, you know, having to leave early. We've got school photos today. Hey guys, not a problem. Please, email communication. You've all got my email address now. Please keep in contact with me. If your school has any questions, especially about you wondering if you're in the right course, then they need to talk to the TVET West team. But the school already have that email address. They have those contacts. You go and talk to your TVET coordinator if you've got any questions that you're unsure of, that, you know, maybe I've suggested you need to talk to them. Okay, and they'll contact the TVET team and we'll sort things out. What's that? The last slide. Yay, make the most of your opportunity to stand out in the crowd. Your IT students now at TAFE. So I'll just close this PowerPoint. If there's no questions, let's have a look at some of these documents. And we'll go through them as quickly as possible, but I really need you to acknowledge that you've received these documents and understand what's in them. So the first one, the most important one, is the emergency contact details. So yes, hey. So yes, I know you've already provided a lot of these details on an enrolment form. I know we may have already have some of these details from you, but I need you to fill this in for me and sign it and send it back to me. So what I want you to do, emergency contact details form, open it up, fill it in for me. So course, now I realise that some of you, these students at Tamworth have 2 monitors. So are you all jealous? They've got 2 monitors. So they're lucky. They can put my Teams window on a second monitor and they can still open these documents in front of them and be typing things out. As I'm talking to them, they can see my presentation, plus they can be doing their work. I understand some of you guys might be on tiny laptops, and I really feel for you doing an IT course online on a little laptop. So you're going to have to manage that. But open the contact form. Sorry, I didn't pre-fill this out for you. The course, I don't mind if you don't put in, you know, you really need to put in certificate. Oh, I can't type. 3 in. You can just put IDMT. Information, digital media and technology. Location's a bit of a tricky one because, you know, I've been putting connected learning delivered from Tamworth campus. So, you know, for those of you at Tamworth campus, just put Tamworth. The rest of you understanding that this is called connected learning. The day you're doing it, by you typing this in, this is just confirming that you do understand the information I've given you. So the day you're doing it is Thursdays, 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Ah, is that right? 1:30 p.m. 1:30. Hey? Oh, okay. Next line down says session times. Thanks, Deb. In most of your future classes, Deb will be on Teams as well. She's in the classroom. She's my echo here. She's been with me for a little while and she's really helpful in the classroom. So as I said, I'm not always going to be in Tamworth. Jackie, you've got 3 at the moment. Oh, 3 monitors. Yay. I must admit I've got 3. I've got 2 24-inch and I've got my little laptop screen in front of me, which is the camera and the Teams meeting. That's why I'm looking at you. But when I'm looking this side, this is what I'm presenting to you. And when I'm looking that side, this is my email, so I can check what's coming in and keep in track of everything. So yeah, love it. Look, I think most of you guys that are interested in computers, Colby, how many screens do you have at home? 2? Yay! So you can tell IT people, technical people, or gaming people. Is that what we are? Not me. Not me. I'm not a gamer. Yep. Coda, you got, yep, Coda's got 2 at home. Excellent. I have some of my year 12 students that were continuing from last year. You know, they did 9 months almost work from home. Someone's got 2 at home, but a small laptop at school, it just kills you, Mohammed, doesn't it? It just, it just. I was, I'm not very good at preparation ahead of time, so I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, sitting in bed with my little laptop trying to prepare some stuff for today, and I can't cope with it, a little laptop. So yes, we have students that come into Tamworth campus just because they want to use the dual monitors and fast computers. Anyway, rambling on. Session times. We've talked about must remain on campus, not relevant to guys that coming in from school. Not permitted to leave the campus. We have talked about that in depth. Please type your student name. Okay, student signature, you know, you can still just type your name. This is okay. I don't expect you to print stuff out, sign it, and then scan it back in again. Okay? Just type a signature. What we do is when you submit it to me, when you're submitting any work, assessments or forms, most of the time you are submitting it via an authenticated email address. Okay? Technical terms, authenticated email address means it's secured with a username and password. So if you're sending this form back to me via your school account, that is an authenticated email address. After this week, you will all be using your TAFE student account. So the fact that you are logged in with your username and password, which is why you should never share your password, means we know it's coming from you, and that is suitable as a digital signature. USI, it says mandatory. Please don't be worried if you don't know your USI. Some of you think, what on earth is that? I was just going to say, what the hell is that? Universal Student Identification came in a couple of years ago. I think, do you have to have a USI for school now? Yeah, have it. Yeah. Yeah, but you guys don't always know that. It may have been on your enrolment confirmation information. It may not yet, because it takes us a little bit sometimes to get that information through. So it says mandatory here, but I'm not too concerned about that if you don't know it. You guys are in a digital world, okay? You're going to have a gazillion usernames and passwords. How do you manage that? Just for this TAFE course, you're going to be logging into a number of different systems. You're going to have multiple usernames and passwords. So managing that. Password managers on our phones, iPhone keychain to remember all your passwords in the cloud, some sort of secure way. I'm not telling you to write them down in the book. We're told never to write our passwords down, but you are at a stage where you need to start somehow remembering all these usernames and passwords, especially being enrolled in an IT course. My expectation is that you're going to start managing it. If you don't know how to, talk to me. Email, let's talk about it. But we're preparing you to work in IT, where you're going to be an administrator in control of someone's network. Okay? Very important that we start managing those properly. Coda, you don't have, you don't have multiple monitors at home, or you don't have password manager, sorry. So passwords, USI. For example, I have my USI in a password manager on my phone. So no matter where I go, as long as I don't lose my phone, I have access to all that information. But don't worry about it if you don't have it now. Today's date, 11th of the 2nd, 2021. Put down your emergency contact number, please, which is going to be not your mobile phone. It's going to be a parent, a carer, a guardian, someone who we can contact in an emergency. Okay? If something happens to you, we need a number to contact. I'm just going to, as an example, type in here my office phone number. You already have these details, so you don't have to keep mine. Make sure you put their name down and their relationship. Mum, dad, carer, uncle, auntie, someone. Okay? But someone who's responsible for you, because you are under 18. Now, what I need you to do is to save that form. Make sure you save it. Make sure you save it in a location that you know where it is. And again, you should have a TAFE folder, and close that document. Now, once you've completed that document, I'm going to get you to do these individually, please. So the email that I sent you with all these details in, I want you to reply to that email, attach that signed document, and send it to me, please. Okay, so we're back. The next document we need to look at, Raymond, hopefully you've got my email. Is there anyone new that's come in that we haven't spoken to previously? I think you've all got your emails, okay? If there's anyone here who doesn't know what I'm talking about, stick something in the chat pod, but I'm pretty sure you're all in the system. Okay, so the second document we need to look at, student document, we've all returned the emergency contact details form. Sorry, I haven't counted them all, so I'll be chasing you if I don't get that from you this week, okay? Student information. So there's a document, TVET Student Information 2021. And this is your guide to being a TVET student. So I will go through it a bit quickly. Seriously, I've probably already said all this already. So I will go through it a little bit and just make sure there's nothing in there. The important part about this information is the front page. Okay, this is important details about your course. More importantly, you can put your student name here. It doesn't matter. I don't need this back from you. It's not something that you send back to me. It's something that you keep, and it's information about your course. So student name, your school, your course name, don't need to put that in. The qualification, again, don't forget, this is just a statement of attainment. If you think you're going to come out of year 12 with a certificate 3, that's not correct. Okay, we need to make that clear. You're only getting 11 units from that qualification. It is an ICF framework course. Most of you, it's 2 years. You've got me for 7 terms. That's not Justin. Justin's in here, and Justin knows that he's doing it in 1 year. So 2 units over 2 years. Campus, again, connected learning delivery from Tamworth. IT section. You've got my contact details here, but you've all got my email, and all my contact details are on my email. If you have any problems and you don't feel you can come and talk to me, that's okay. You've got my head teacher's details here. Okay, so if you're talking to your parent or guardian or someone at the school and they're really not sure about something, or you want to clarify something that I've said or something that you have a question about, you're welcome to contact my head teacher, Jackie. Okay? Again, Thursdays, 9:30 to 1:30. We are in this room in Tamworth, but we're also in Microsoft Teams. So every week you're going to log into Microsoft Teams, no matter where you're located. I'll just send the email link to these ladies. Sorry. Just give me a minute. Okay, Trial HSC. This is an ICF, this is a Industry Curriculum Framework course. You are all eligible to sit for the HSC exam. Your trial, that's all next year. For most of you in 2-year course, okay? You'll be given those dates. The trial HSC is done at TAFE New South Wales. The actual HSC exam is taken at the school, okay? Work placement, again, very important. We've talked about work placement, but you guys have to do 70 hours. Our normal work placement is term 3, we do simulated in Tamworth. Term 4, we send you out into industry. Our ICT framework allows us to have 50% in a simulated environment. Now, last year, Amazon Web Services did an amazing week of virtual work placement, and it was really fantastic, and I know some of our students actually did that at the end of last year. So they're not going to have to go out into industry. If anyone has done that work placement with Amazon Web Services, it was done through the school, it was not necessarily organised through TVET, then let me know, because I'll send out a form for you to acknowledge those hours that you did. If you didn't, I'm really hoping that they'll do it again at the end of this year, term 4. It's a week of online programming, machine learning, face recognition, online cloud services, really good work placement. So let's see what happens with work placement. Last year's students actually, they made 1 week not mandatory because of COVID. We do have a lot of difficulty placing students in IT industry environments at the best of times. Okay, so as I said before, you're all living in different communities. Please look around you, think about, we'll be looking for your input on where you think you might be able to go for work placement. If there's no way you're going to be able to come to Tamworth for a week in term 3, then again, take some personal responsibility for thinking, I have to go out for 2 weeks somewhere and do work placement. Have a look around you, see what organisations are around you. But we have Careers Network across the state that will work on that for you and do the paperwork, but looking for some input from you as well on where you want to go. You want to come to Tamworth for a week and jump in with a big council, fantastic experience if you think you can organise accommodation. So as I said, work placement is going to be in the forefront of chat every week. Careers Network do it, there is a phone number for them, so sure. Ring them up, say, look, I'm down in this little region and I've got this little store next door and I've talked to the guy and he'd love to have me. Talk to Careers Network and, they'll talk to me first, but you can always ring them. And if they don't know the organisation or haven't placed anyone there before, then they have to do a risk assessment and make sure that that is suitable for your work placement. So do that sooner rather than later, because all that takes time. This contact detail here, Robin Campbell, is for your schools to contact. So if your TVET coordinator needs to contact the TVET team and they don't know who to ring, give them this number. Say this is the person overall for you to talk to about the TVET course. Okay, step 1 is always speaking to me. So, talk to me first. Step 2, you may contact my head teacher if you want extra advice, or the school's relationship coordinator. Okay? But generally, you guys talk to me, please. There's a calendar here. I'm not going to go to it in detail, but basically, if you guys are at school, then you're at TAFE. If school is on a Thursday, then TAFE is on a Thursday. So even in our TAFE non-teaching weeks, if you guys are at school, then TAFE is running. Okay? Just not public holidays. We talked about that before. So there's a calendar there for your memory. Keep this document close. Welcome to TAFE New South Wales. There's some frequently asked questions. This has all been in the PowerPoint. Okay, TAFE does not have pupil-free days. If your school has a pupil-free days, you should still come to TAFE. School exam periods, no excuse to be absent. You still have to come to your classes unless you've actually got a scheduled exam, and the school should advise us, or give me a copy of your exam timetable. Block delivery, we don't have block delivery, we have classes every week, but keep in mind that simulated work placement in Tamworth. We've talked about what to wear, same as you would wear to school. Need to bring a note. You cannot leave a TAFE campus early without a note. We expect, we've talked about behaviour. Okay, be responsible for your doing the course. You are now in a TAFE learning environment. If you're not sure of anything, just ask. Withdrawal, certainly talk to your school coordinator, TVET coordinator, if this isn't the course for you and they can organise something else. TAFE New South Wales card. Did we get our card, guys, in Tamworth? Yep. Anyone else out there? Once you're confirmed that you're enrolled in TAFE New South Wales, visit any campus across New South Wales. If you're on holidays and you go past, Coffs Harbour TAFE, sure, pop in there, say, I'm a student, can I get my TAFE card, please? They'll take your photo, which really helps me having a photo in the system. They'll take your photo and issue you a card. Now that card will give you access. You can go to use computers at any TAFE campus, book a computer, borrow from the library. Okay, not just textbooks, movies, videos, magazines, newspapers, any resources at the library that you'd like to use, keep your TAFE card. If you want to print anything, we tend not to print in IT. We're electronic, we try to save trees where possible. We need them to generate the power to run our computers. But we try not to print, but if you need to print, that's fine. You will need your TAFE student card to print at any TAFE campus. Mobile phones. I don't mind you having it in the class, but there's really no need for it. No need for it. Turn it off, put it in your pocket. There's certainly no time that you will be sitting on your mobile phone during class. You know, look, if I might pull out my mobile phone because I might be looking up a password. Remember how I talked before about passwords and information? I save it in my phone. So I'm not going to say don't touch your phone, but there needs to be a decent reason for it. Okay? Don't leave your personal belongings unattended at any time. Again, this is just on campus, but please keep them with you. Internet use the same as school. We have policy. You know what you can and can't do on the internet. We ask that you respect that. Just use what it is for your TAFE course. USI, we talked about that previously. Once you log into TAFE, into your learner portal, your student ID, your USI, all that information will be there. So again, you're in a HSC course. It can be counted towards your year 11 and 12 HSC and an ATAR. Make sure you're in the right course to achieve an ATAR. You dual credentials, so this is a bit small. You will get a TAFE academic transcript that will list all the units that you've done in this course, but you also get your school certificate as long as you complete the course requirements. We've talked about career pathways. We've talked about this being an adult learning environment. What can I expect from my teacher? Yay, enthusiasm. Sometimes that's a bit hard to share when you're in this online environment. So you're welcome to, as I say, you're welcome to bring a headset, you're welcome to chat, you're welcome to talk to me, you're welcome to turn your camera on at times. Really expect that if we're doing some activities and filling in some forms and doing quizzes and things that, we have some sort of a two-way conversation. But of course that depends on the technology that you have. Hopefully I'm well prepared and well organised. Subject knowledge, Certificate 3 level IT. You want to talk technical, go for it. And I will try and give you as much feedback as I can on your course. I'm not going to go on about work placement again. Okay, we've talked about it. You need to be work ready. You need to show that you are work ready. Arrive on time, bring what you need. You need to be organised. You need to be participating. You need to be abiding by the rules and doing your assessments. No inappropriate behaviour. We don't expect that, and again, the school will be notified if we're not happy with your behaviour. Work placement, we've talked about end determination. Okay, you've done a student details form already. The course assessment guide we will look at next. There'll be a work placement agreement that we need to get you to sign. And we'll talk about assessments. So again, this is the same as the PowerPoint. Minimum requirement is that you come along and you participate in the weekly activities and you submit work to me on a regular basis. Warning letters, again, we've talked about warning letters going out. If you're missing classes, if you're not submitting work, a warning letter goes out, and you'll have to deal with the school about that. TAFE New South Wales, we have lots of career and counselling services. I know you have that at the school, but you also have it here. On our website there's lots of links, but if you need some extra information, please send me an email. So I'd really love to talk to a careers advisor and maybe get a second opinion from what the school ones have told you. I don't know. But counselling is also available for students. There's counsellors on every campus. We have a lot of support for disabilities. Okay, so if you feel, especially you guys online, we have some good classroom support face-to-face. If you're online at a school, then you know you already have established school support, but you know we can give you extra time. We have allowances for that. Talk to me about that. We can organise additional study sessions to give you extra time and extra support in this online environment. So again, just talk to me about it. We've talked about Tamworth campus amenities and libraries and cafes and shops and things. I believe you are all now enrolled at TAFE, so check your, look for that password, make sure you activate your student account and you can log on to the TAFE student portal. Don't worry about going any further than that for now, because next week I'll give you more information about what we're going to do with your TAFE login. We also have extra support for Aboriginal students and first aid on campus. Changing your personal details. That TAFE user ID and login will stay with you post-school, after school. If you go to do a TAFE course, that same user ID will continue to go with you. So when you log on to the TAFE student portal, there's a learner portal there, and you'll find that all your personal details that are in the system are in there. If something changes, your mobile number or your email address, once you leave school, you don't want your school email address in there anymore. So there's a lot of fields in there that you can change. Postal address, home address. Please keep that updated yourself. Okay, what you can. If there's something in there that's wrong that you can't update, then let me know so we can get that organised. So any other questions? Again, we've sort of skipped through this, but you've got that information to read in your own time, and it's all repetitive. So let me know if you've got any questions. And now we've just got a few extra forms to fill out. So pop some questions in the chat pod. Hope you're all there. Hope you're all listening. Still there. Next form. TVET Student Declaration. So this form is basically, hopefully, that we've covered everything we need to cover. And this is one that you do have to tick the boxes, return to me. If there's something in here that you don't understand, highlight it or add a comment and send it back to me. So the course assessment guide. I've received the course assessment guide, which we haven't looked at, so I'll just bring that one up on the screen. So the TVET course assessment guide tells you the course you're enrolled in, the period of time your course lasts for, and again, Justin, you understand that you've got a different course assessment guide, but the rest of the students are in 4 units over 2 years. Entry-level foundation skills at Certificate 3 level: software, hardware, operating systems, network, work health and safety. You're only doing 11 units, so you're getting a statement of attainment. It's ungraded course, means your only result is competent or not yet competent. If you haven't covered enough to pass the assessment, I'll send it back to you and say, hey, you need a bit more information here, or you've missed a question. Okay, you must answer everything on an assessment task. But don't worry, it's pretty nervous at the first, knowing how much information you need to give me. So, don't be concerned if it's not enough or not the right information. Put something down, but I may send it back to you and say, hey, go and read this, or you need to give me a bit more information. And remember, you are not getting the Certificate 3, you are getting a Statement of Attainment. So here's your units. Okay, all this time you think, what am I going to learn in this course? This is your units and your key assessment dates. So we start with application software packages. We're going to make sure you've all got those core skills in Microsoft Office. We're going to jump into internal hardware because, hey, you're doing a hardware IT course, hardware course, so you're probably interested in about, internal hardware. And we're going to get into some technical terms. Some of you, gamers, technical people, off the top of your head. Quite often there's students in here that, they like IT, but really I don't fiddle with internal components too much. It's not something it's not my interest so much. So you may find a whole new lot of technical terms that you have no idea about. We're going to be installing Windows operating system software. We're going to be installing, optimizing Windows, configuring Windows. We're going to be running Windows diagnostic tests. And then we're going to build a network. Small office, home office network, similar to what you may have at home, where you've got, plugs into a NBN connection, and you've got home Wi-Fi, and you've got multiple devices, iPads, phones, computers, gaming stations, TVs, all connected to a Wi-Fi network. So that's what we're going to look at. We're not going to look at plug and play and it just works like it does at home. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the technical side of it and look at how this works and how we can secure it, our networks. Of course, you can't work in IT. I'm sorry if you think you're going to sit in a corner and fiddle with computers all day and not talk to people, because ICT is about helping other people with their computers. There's a lot of talking to clients in a pretend situation. So we're talking to people, we're finding out what their requirements are. We're going to do some research and think, well, how can I help them out? And we're going to put down some written documentation to send back to that person and say, well, yeah, this is what we're going to do for you. So please expect in every unit a lot of communication. You're going to be sending emails. You're going to have to do some role plays, which we can do in teams. We do it privately, or we may do it as a group. You may have to do a presentation and share it with the rest of the group. So things that you would possibly most normally do at school anyway. We're going to look after caring for our hardware. We're going to keep it clean, keep it tidy, keep it functioning. We're going to learn more advanced office skills. We're going to create really good user documentation, because seriously, if you're helping people with IT, you're going to be wanting to hand out user guides. So we're going to create some good documentation. We're going to learn to administer Windows, user accounts and permissions and backups and all sorts of things like that. We are going to have build a simple website, and we're going to do a little bit more networking. Now, the important column is this NESA column, mandatory or elective. Mandatory means these are the HSC examinable units. Okay, if you're planning to sit your HSC and achieve a high result, then these are the units that your focus will be on, and ensuring you do as much underlying knowledge and skills as you can in these particular units. The other ones are will improve your skills, but they're not examinable. So you're not going to be examined on building a website, but you will be examined on HTTP web protocols, because that comes under networking. Okay, key assessment dates. I give you a very detailed training plan to follow. And I break down each of those units into separate tasks. Okay, so this particular assessment is, it's broken down so you can see each week what you need to do, okay, to keep up to date with that time frame. If you miss a class through illness or you've got other events on, then it's a homework. It's like school, you need to catch up in homework time. So if there's no questions about that, this document you keep, so refer back to it if you need to. As I said, the final unit result is achieved competency, or you're not yet competent, which means you need to provide a bit more extra information or something's missing from your assessment. If you don't agree with any assessment, you have a right to appeal, and that's where you may talk to my head teacher, and that's okay. To successfully complete it, you need to complete all parts of an assessment and submit everything and get it marked. Again, the important part down here, I'll just push it over the page, is the work placement. Told you you'd get sick of me saying the words work placement. 70 hours mandatory. Again, that's in writing what I've already told you previously. We aim for term 3, week 2. The schools have been provided that information in their calendar. Week 2, term 3, term 4, week 2, which is your year 12. Okay, we send you out for the second one. Hopefully, Amazon will do a work placement simulated that you can do from the school, and that is classed as industry workplace because it's a real industry. Doesn't matter where you're sitting. You may not be dealing with people walking in and out of a shop, but you're sitting on a computer and you're working as a system software developer or consultant in the cloud, in cloud services. Justin, 7 terms, we need to deal with your work placement beforehand. Okay, some of you may be doing some work placement with the school. Sometimes the school will host. It might be a day a week. As long as it's important that anything you do is logged, we need a record of the hours that you've done, and we need the proper paperwork generated so that we can record that work placement. So talk to TVET coordinators at your school, see if there's any potential for you to do work placement with a school IT person. And again, as an individual, we'll talk about this. Make sure this gets done before you finish the course. We'll do it where we can, especially now with COVID, social distancing and everything. We're still bound by those requirements. So a lot of workplaces simply cannot take students. So we even have a more limited group of industry placements that we can put you in. So it's important that we start thinking about that early. Again, learner support. If you think there's some way we can support you better in this course, please talk to us. Recognition, if you've done anything similar, talk to me. You may not have to do some TAFE units. There's no prerequisites. But we do those units in the order that I've given to you because we build your skills up slowly. See you next week. Okay? Do it in the order. So if there's no questions, if you're happy that you've got all this information in this course assessment guide, this has to be returned to me, please. So if you can do that now, and again, a separate email is fine, please. Send it back to me. Save it locally. there's nothing else on there. Save that document, please, and email that one back to me. $12:30 already. And it's not something you can really rush through. Because everyone's on different systems and some of them are a bit slower than others, the systems and the emails, and just making sure that we drill it in. So that means you should be returning to this to me. Everything from now after this week will be under your student email address. And that's authenticated because it's a username and password that you have to sign in to access. Look after your password, don't share it, because anything that comes from you on that email address, you're to blame for. Okay, don't share your password. Take responsibility, and we class that. So if it's attached to an email from your TAFE account, then that's what TAFE wants, and we have that record that came from you. Today, of course, you're returning it via your school email account. Again, that's an authenticated email account. It's a DET, education.newsouthwales.gov.au account, and you have a password access to that. So again, it's acceptable as an electronic signature. So starting to see those come back in again. It's something you can finish later if you need to, if you're having problems with technology or something. Back to the student declaration form, the second one, the NESA completion requirements. Remember the minimum, just attending. So that was in a previous document. The student assessment guide, the one we just did was the course assessment guide that you just returned to me. Was the course assessment guide for the overall course. The student assessment guide is for each unit. And no, I haven't given you those, but you are given those. You have to acknowledge those when we start each unit. So I'm not going to flood your inbox with 11 of those. We will do those when we actually commence each unit. So I don't mind if you tick that or not. We've talked about warning letters. Yep. I'm sure you can tick that. I'm sure you've listened to me ramble about that. The implications, we've talked about the end determination. You don't need a tick in these boxes. You can type in yes, or you can do something. I've got a tick on a macro. Final results are always provided to your school twice a year. Your school will get a result of what you've been working on. Plus, if they request it, we'll also give them an update. The TVET student information, we went through that document. You're going to sign this form. You don't need a photocopy because you're going to still have this original electronic form saved in your file, and you're going to return it to me as well. Additional information, you are in an ICF course. Okay, performance bands, HSC specifications. I haven't sent you those. Again, I just think it's too much information for now. But when we get closer to the HSC or further down the track, you know, we've talked about those mandatory units that are examinable, and that information will be available once you get into our normal TAFE, once you start signing in with your TAFE student ID. But definitely we've talked about mandatory work placement. You can definitely tick that one, unless you haven't been listening to me. Again, please acknowledge this one and return it to me. I'll stop talking for a minute and give you a chance to fill that one out. Please don't worry about a tick. You don't have to find a tick. Yeah, mine comes up so quickly. Yes, please email this one to me now. Mine comes up so quickly because I actually have it on a macro, which means I just press a single key and it comes in. But my tick is actually, see, it's a symbol. Wingdings 2 is a type of a tick. I don't think it's the same as my tick. So Wingdings 2 is a tick, but please don't fiddle around and waste time with the tick because it doesn't need to be that pretty. You can type yes. Mine is actually a symbol. Oh, it is Wingdings 2. I should have just typed yes in the box. You can always copy and paste the tick that's already there. Great idea, Raymond. Copy and paste the tick that's already there. There's already one up the top. That would have been better. There's always someone that thinks of a better way of doing things. But, yeah. Sign, date, save, and return to me via email. So that's 3 documents so far. Thanks to everyone that's sent them back already. Great, keep going. I will go through and just double check and remind anyone that doesn't get it. I'll give you a reminder next week what I'm missing. I'll just give you all another minute to get that sorted. Of course, I don't mind you saving them and attaching them all to one email at the end. That's fine, as long as we know that we get them back. So I think the last one is the work placement. See, that word comes up again. It's going to keep coming up. I really need you to acknowledge that you understand what we've talked about. Okay, so you recognise that we have the right to refuse to send you on work placement if you're not demonstrating work readiness skills. Okay, we have to, as I said, we have very few IT work placements available, and we need to make sure our employers are looked after. We cannot make arrangements with an employer and then have students not turn up or not do the right thing or spend all time on their mobile phones, all sorts of things. You need to demonstrate that to me. Between now and when you go on work placement, your attitude and behaviour in this class will help to demonstrate that to me. Remember, if you don't do it, it's an automatic end determination. I don't even have to fill in a form. If you haven't completed work placement by the end of the course, you do not get those units. So to be work ready, come to class, stay to class, bring what you need, use good work health and safety practices, obey the rules, complete your assessments, demonstrate appropriate communication skills. Okay, and you know, that's not always verbal. It's not always written. Don't forget, you know, we can make allowances for where you're struggling. Appropriate for your abilities. Okay, so if there's something that you come across in assessment and you're really worried about it and you don't think you can do it, again, talk to me, because we've got other ways that we can work around things. Demonstrate that you can successfully combine your TAFE study with other school studies. You've got to fit it in. School isn't the priority here, okay? And TAFE's not the priority. You need to manage your time. Quite often we have students that, oh, sorry, miss, you know, I had another assignment to do. Or come to class and want to work on an important assignment that's overdue. No. We need to have the same priority. You need to remember that. Follow directions, stay on task, treat everyone with respect and courtesy, and no inappropriate behaviour, which we all know, you know, there's a big list of it there. Demonstrate a positive attitude to your work placement. Understand that their requirement. The documentation has to be signed by everyone. When that is finally generated, you need to take it round. You need to sign it. Your parents and guardian need to sign it. The school needs to sign it. And it's your responsibility to get that back to me before your placement, or you don't go. And if you don't go because we don't get the paperwork, then, you know, that employer has been, you know, his workplace has been interrupted, and we need to look after our employers. It's up to you to organise your own safe travel arrangements. So again, if you decide that you want to come to Tamworth and go to a big organisation, you're responsible for getting there. If you do decide to come to Tamworth for the simulated work placement environment at Tamworth campus, again, you are responsible for your own travel and accommodation. And very importantly, we need some evidence of what you've done while you've been in work placement, some sort of journal. Usually I give that to you. Anyone who did AWS last year, I'm going to ask you for some evidence of what you did during that week. So I hope you kept some evidence. I know I did that work placement myself. It was really fascinating, and I have a big document because I pasted a lot of stuff that I had created or developed, or my login information, my things that I had to remind me what I had to do. I just pasted into a big document as I worked through it that week of course, that week. So that would be my evidence. So please, if you've done that, see what you can find. Because I will be asking you for it if you want to use that as evidence. Okay, so please, again, last one, sign, date, and return it back to me. So you'll see my pink text. I have macros that just make all that come up automatically on one button. So clever. My pink text, you'll see that's my marking text. Okay, so when I'm marking your work, there'll be those pink ticks, or maroon, whatever colour it is, maroon ticks, initials, comments, feedback is all going to be. So you're looking for that colour throughout all your documents. Please don't choose that colour for your answers. It makes it very confusing when you're answering assessments and things. You're welcome to do it another colour, just do it a different colour. Okay, I'll leave you for a minute to finish that one. Yes, and further to that with the please don't choose this colour to make your answers in. Happy for you to choose a colour, you don't have to. Some students like to choose a colour. It makes your answers stand out from the question. Just if you're resubmitting work, if I send it back and I say, give me a bit more information, please don't change your original. Just start a little bit further down, change your colour would be perfect, because then I can clearly see your second submission and second attempt at that question. So used font colours. But again, I really don't want you spending a lot of time making sure that your colours and everything are really pretty, because the point of the assessment is for you to demonstrate to me that you understand the concepts that we're covering. So 1 more minute, and I think that's the last thing we have to sign. So I'll go on mute for a bit. So we would need your permission to use your photo. Now, we're not going to take random photos of you. Before we take any photos, we're going to let you know to begin with. And if this form hasn't been returned, then we're going to ask you to do it, okay? So it's something that your parents would have to sign. Some students come back and say, no, my parent doesn't want to sign that, and that's okay. So don't worry about this form, it's certainly not necessary. But if they're happy to do that, that's fine. Sorry? Yes, we have. I have taken a few photos in the past. Tamworth students, we've gone up, the library has some activities sometimes, and they take photos, and yeah, the winners of these activities were sometimes my students, and we had to find the forms. We do some extra other stuff like the Amazon thing, you know, if you did part of that work placement group, we might do a group photo. There might be something to do with the workplace, but again, it's very rare that we use it outside of our section, you know. It's very rare, and if we do want to take your photo, then we'll ask you for that form then. So even though I've included, please don't feel that you have to do it. Okay, it's a good idea if you can get it returned to us just in case you're accidentally caught in a photo, and if TAFE can look on the system and see that you've already returned that and you're happy for that, then they don't have to chase that up, and it's a bit quicker that they can use those photos, if that makes sense. What else was in there? There was one other thing in there. The permission to leave TAFE campus, which is of course only relevant to students on Tamworth TAFE, and I discourage you using that. I did include it, but you've only got 20 minutes from morning tea. You don't have time to leave the campus, and we prefer that you not leave the campus. But absolutely, you do not leave the campus unless I have that form. The calendar's there. The only other thing there is the workplace learning guide for parents and carers. Please email this to your parents. If your parents want a printed copy, let me know. It's really important that you go home and you talk to your guardians about this work placement. Go home and say, hey, I have to find 2 weeks out in the workplace in this little community. And if I don't, then I'm not going to get my HSC. I want you to go and tell them that, okay? They need to know that this is a mandatory part, and you will get an indetermination if this isn't done. You know, again, we have some simulation stuff. We try and find places for you, but we also ask that you take some personal responsibility for this. You've enrolled in this course. Okay. I really want you to have this conversation with your parents. Normally year 10, year 11, you've already done some schoolwork placement. I think year 10, don't you all have to do schoolwork placement at some point?
They don't have to, but
Usually,
if they want to.
yeah, usually a lot of them have already done work placement and parents are aware of it. But I can't have students in term 4 this year I had one that seriously, I had a phone call from the parent the week before, the Friday before, and said, what's this about him going out to work placement? He can't do that. He's got important school stuff. He can't miss his school stuff. And it's the first time forever that I've ever had that happen. And, you know, my response was, sorry, your child knew about this from day one. And I'm sorry if you get sick of me saying it. There is no missing work placement. I can't stress that enough, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. So please make sure your parents are aware that you have to do this. And yeah, there's a booklet for them. If you want to print a copy, let me know. But, you know, maybe just send them the attachment in an email and make sure they read it. Make sure you have that conversation. So really, I think that's all I need to talk to you about the orientation. Sorry I've taken up your whole day. It's 1 o'clock. My other Year 12 students I've neglected them all day. They've been in another classroom with another teacher, helping them. But, you know, they've been with me for 12 months. They're on to their number 8 unit. If they don't know what to do by now, yeah, they know what to do, so they're doing their stuff. But bearing in mind that I have you all in the same time frame, so I will be doing on a weekly basis. I will be giving you some time in the morning and talking about some activities, and then I will be leaving you to work on activities and assessments in your time, and I will pop out and I will be talking to the Year 12 students about some of their units and what they need to do. Deb, in the classroom here, Deb will join us in Teams most weeks. I also have another support officer, Mitchell. He's my IT guy. He's the one looking after my Year 12s today, and he'll pop in now at the meeting and say g'day and talk about his computer business, because he's really working in IT and has a lot to add. He's also the gamer, so it's really easy to get him off track talking about gaming and dual monitors and CPUs and GPUs, and he builds gaming computers. So yeah, so he's great. He's great help to me, and he's busy at the moment. So there will be other people around within this environment. So I think Deb, it's 1 o'clock. Our normal class used to always finish at 1 o'clock, so I think Deb's got somewhere to go. We've got another support person in the room here, and she's got somewhere else to go. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm sorry we didn't do anything interesting. We still have some missing students online, so I'll have to catch up with them and try and get this done. So hopefully next week we'll get started into some interesting IT stuff. So the rest of you, you've still got half an hour. I don't mind if it's your school lunch and you want to go to another class or something, that's okay. What I need to see at the end of this week, your tasks for this week, are those documents signed and returned to me. Read through all those documents, have a read through again, make sure you understand them. Anything there that's got a signature, please sign and return to me. And that's your tasks for this week. So I'll still be here till 1:30, but I'm going to stop talking. So send me emails. I've got some things here I need to respond to. So I'm going to stop the recording